G'day, Project Smith Tech here, and today we're going to do a build. This time, I honestly thought they gave me the wrong box, but 11900K. Now, because unbeknownst to me, when I brought this order, that somebody else has already planned what I'm going to do with it before me, and that's given that the Intel Arc GPU doesn't really play nicely with the 9900KS as the software controller goes, oh, you need 1100 series or more. So anyway, that's just a quick rundown of the series. Now I'm going to open everything and start installing. Okay, what we have here is two Optane drives. This is from Intel. Back before Samsung was absolutely killing it with the drives. But, and you're going to have to take my word, we're going to run these in RAID 0. Now, the purpose of this build isn't to initially install the Intel's A770, but I do want to just highlight the usefulness of the drives. So we have the direct PCIe connection to the, and we're going to be running RAID 0 through these two and trying to see if the chipset has, well, how it deals with it. So I don't know if it will throttle it like everything else, but for the RAM, we're going native 3200, Vengeance 3200. So that's what the official spec is for the 11900K processor is. So for the direct PCIe lane, we're going for Samsung Pro, and that's Gen 4. So that is going to, we're going to see which one is actually faster, and neither one of these is going to have the operating system on it. So this is Gen 3 PCIe, about 8 lanes. Gen 4, but 4 lanes. And what I'll be installing Windows on is initially is just a SATA drive. So this won't be the finished product, but I just want to see how fast all the drives go with the 11900K. I was thinking about running it as a potential unraid replacement, but that definitely won't be happening anymore. So I'll get the Arc Intel graphics card in here and then we're going to do some tests, but that's going to be another video. This one's just the build, and yeah, we'll go from there. Alrighty, first step, CPU. Man, I cannot believe how small these things are. I have not played with a normal desktop CPU in ages, and they're tiny. So you can, oh wow, that's going to take a fair bit. Anyway, let's have a look here. So would you look at that? No triangle. No. Okay, so there's a triangle. My goodness, it's tiny. Tiny as the CPU itself. Anyway, we're going to match it to the board. So we established that's the triangle, and we can see to the board, there's the triangle. Now the advantage is running the 11900K is you don't have the silliness of the P cores and E cores, and everything is symmetrical core. Now, some of you may consider, oh, why don't you just go AMD? Well, that's because I really wanted to work without any major frustrations. Yeah, that's in there. All right. Whoopsies. And we're done, and that's how you install a CPU. As for the RAM, 3200, and we're going to install it in the slots furthest away, and we've discussed it in another channel. This is the deal with the interference that could bounce back. Now make sure that's in there. Now I've installed DDR4 before on this channel, but I think this is the first time that it wasn't actually ECC. And next memory. And that's that done. Now, I won't bore you too much with the detail. I'll only go for this once. But in your motherboard box, you will get these screws, and that's just going to go into your secondary M.2 drives. Now, this one, apparently, it's already got its own, so that should be fine. And the gift that they give you is, well, that will screw into the bottom, and there's your top part for your tiny screw. Don't lose them. And you choose whichever one suits your M.2 drive. Now, obviously, I'm using a, well, I'm going to call it standard because I won't. And once you get your Intel hook it in, and it's just like that. Going to, I think they call it a 30-degree angle, but yeah, you'll notice it. Go there, grab a magnetic screwdriver. I'd recommend, you don't have to, but I'd go something very small. Screwdriver there. I'd recommend magnet. And yeah, we just screw that in. Now, the reason why I have so many Intel Optane drives is, well, one, I got them cheap, and I was hugely disappointed when they didn't fit into the server that I had planned. Now, don't put a lot of torque on it. That would do. It didn't go into the server as I planned because it only seems to recognize, well, later Intel parts, and it's like, oh, well, that's annoying. Though, fortunately, I actually have 3 of them, and one of them is in my unrated server, and that's a 10400. So, yeah, it wasn't total waste, but that's why I'm filling this one up with the drives. Apparently, they have a really good write endurance as well. So, well, apparently, I need these as well. So they're going to basically all of them, even the 4th Gen 4 PCIe plug, and these 2 will be going to the chipset. All right. So if all going well, the 2 Intel will be running RAID. This will be no need because it's direct contact with the CPU. And this will just plug into the till I'm ready to put the GPU in its final form. Now, unfortunately, I do like to test the platform before putting it in the case, but given the size of the cooler, which will just go over here, it is a 420 cooler. So when I built this PC, I did have a plan on, if possible in the BIOS, I was just going to unlock the turbo duration. So essentially it will turbo forever. And if possible, even run 5.3 on all core. And I was going to test that, and maybe I would have done maybe an AVX offset, so maybe let it run just that 5.2 on AVX 512, but we'll have to find that out once it's all built, whether the chip can handle it. And that's it. All right, now time to put it all in the box. Oh, I should note that the cooler, the heat spreader that came with the motherboard will not be needed, as the SSD, well, the Samsung 980 Pro came with its own cooler. Absolutely love this case, and I'm going to prep it at the moment, but I do want to show just how easy it is to get the sidebar. So already, well, this is the 801. Oh, look at that, they've already done some cable management. Got the hub. Not the best. Actually, it turns out it's fortunate that I'm using the Intel's A770, because this case actually doesn't have any vents on the bottom to pull air in, and you could say I'm a big fan of that, from the bottom to the top. So I think this will actually work out well. This is going to make a nifty. So my massive radiator is going to go in there. I'm going to sacrifice that, obviously, probably that as well. All right, let's see how it looks. Before I put the motherboard in, I just want to go over some of the advantages of buying the case. One, all the standoff happen to match my motherboard. It's funny that when you buy a standard motherboard, power supply shroud comes straight out, so that's going to be ease. Filters, easy to remove, and the front cover, easy to move. So this will help me get to the, well, taking the fans off. I'm kind of curious how the radiator is going to mount, so I am interested in that, but I might bolt the motherboard in first anyway. Actually, no, could get away with it. Looks like that tray's removable, so I might put the motherboard in first, then put the water cooler on. Alrighty. I will mention, yeah, the fan shroud on the top comes off, so that'll be very convenient when I take those to there. Plus the extra fan that I accidentally brought for another build and I didn't need it. That worked out well. And Discovery, it actually does have vents on the bottom, although I don't know how I'm going to raise it off the ground. So it's kind of an interesting, yeah, that's why I didn't believe that they didn't have it. Hopefully they come with like some sort of, well, something in the box. I'll have a look, but because the bottom's ventilated, guess what? This will not be in there by the end of the build. It looks good, but I mean, that's the only advantage, I guess, for some aesthetics. But again, I'm not running glass panels anyway. Beautiful. Well, this is annoying. My case didn't come with a stand, and it's supposed to, so I'm gonna have to put in a. Oh, it also didn't come with the black covers, so I'm gonna have to. Oh man, that's so annoying. I was looking forward to building this. Anyway, we'll get back when I get all the pieces. My bad, found the feet. Anyway, moving on. All right, just a quick touching base with the fans and the cooling. So the rad's got to go in, and I've touched the well. Even though it has throttle control, that's because of the fancy, well, it's on the back. And also I had to take these up. So the hub has fan control, so it's just controlling the amount of power that's going through there without actually pulsing it through. And that's how you get a 420 in there. Okay, we're looking pretty good. Motherboard fit in there, no problems. Radiator was tight, but that worked. What I do want to point out is this is a PCIe. No. Well, it is actually. I think they labeled it. Yeah, PCIe power. So it's the same power for your graphics. I've never seen that on a, well, either my server boards don't have it, but my goodness, what are you guys running for MSI to implement that? I'm guessing this would have been happening during the overclocking wars with the GPUs. My goodness. Fascinating. Anyway. Okay, I think there's a bit of value to this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to film the best I can installing the cooler to the CPU. So that's the liquid freezer, the Arctic liquid freezer 2420. And so I've gathered they want us to put this. So I'm going to stick this side by side. Then I'm going to see the freezer, the backplate designed for it. We'll go on, then we go to the other side. Obviously, I'm going to hold it there. It's going to be a little bit clumsy though with the camera, so I won't be able to film it 100%, but I'll do the best I can to go through step by step. So we're going to, well, I'm guessing the washers, that's what it's trying to be. And so you got 4, and 4 will go on the other side, but we'll get to that. And I'll just film showing one, then I'll cut to where all of them are. There we go. All right. I'll be back. And you can see all that on there. Now, ready for the back plate, but just to let you know what's going on the other side will be... All right. Before we get to the back plate, you see in the same packet, you get these 2 set. This one... Yeah, they didn't actually explain it, but or in the manual, but it does show. So if you go online, you'll perfectly see it. But this one's for for your socket pin layout. So it'd be 2066 or the 2011, and this one's for your 1200 or your 1150, whichever series. So there's a couple of them that are very similar. So we call it 11. Well, they call it 1150X, and that's the one that we need for this build. So just in case there's any confusion, go for the longer ones, not unless you're rocking a Xeon or a workstation board that is the 2066 or the 2011. But no, this one. Now we got that there. We grab our back plate and we grab the longer dual threaded, and we're going to start screwing on the back plate. Okay, once you get your back plate on, we're going to go to the actual cooler and we're going to screw these on. Now these bracket. You see, we'll be using that, and it's only a dual, well, it's a single screw per bracket, but anyway. And that's what it looks like afterwards. And be sure to peel the label off. I mean, come on, they can't make it any more obvious. You'd be surprised, even though I've come across builds where they've forgotten to peel the label off. I may have done it myself, but I've never turned a computer on with the label on. It's like, I put it on there, check the thermal paste. Oh, whoops. But not really much more to... Oh, yeah, and the thumb nut. So once you've done your thermal paste, and that will be the go. Final look at it before it turns into... Before we put thermal paste on it. Alright, and time to apply some thermal paste. Now, I am at a bit of a disadvantage with the camera because I'm actually filming quite far away, hence the terrible quality, but... Now, they did supply us with thermal paste. I supplied myself with a bachelor. Alright, let's make it. Now I did put quite a lot on there, that's fine. Hopefully it's non-conductive. It's easy to smear this one. Talking about a lot. Maybe go a little bit more. Too much of it ended up on the spatula. And that will do. Mission accomplished. Oh, we almost forgot the most important part. You see the peel? Yeah, there we go. That's right. We don't leave it on. Well done. And that's how we're going to do it. There we go. Well done. Now, just as a sanity check, do a bit of wiggle, try and pace up. See how that, even though it's fair that it's not on yet. I'm satisfied with that. Get our little thumb screw that we were careful not to lose before. And just do it hand tight. All right, that'll do for that. You don't need to watch me put all four. This is how it's looking so far. So right now I have to find a way of getting those cables just off the fan a bit. Now I would have preferred if the cables ran from the bottom, but there wasn't enough room, and this is actually fine. As long as your pump that's pumping is lower than the highest point on your radiator, it's fine. All right. I do want to mention something just in the specification that this is Gen 4. This is all 16 lanes, goes to the CPU. However, you can see that it's only wired for 4 lanes, and that actually goes, so according to the specification, which didn't actually come in the box, this goes to the chipset. So that just gives you an idea of, I mean, if you wanted to turn this into, say, I'm considering it myself, into an editing rig, you could put a 10 gigabit card and not have it interfere with the graphics card. So it depends how well the Intel A770 plays with DaVinci Resolve. I'm actually kind of curious how this will actually go. I'll definitely test it. Alrighty, with the cooler, well, more or less on and it's secure. And don't forget, when you're doing these up, actually go the crisscross. That's something that I forgot to mention in the last cut. We're going to take care of the lines so they're not rubbing on the top. There's actually not a whole lot to go. I will mention quickly the power supply. So every connector plug that I need, this is something that you sort of have to work out a little bit beforehand. It is a fully modular power supply, so everything that you need, hook up. Everything that you don't, well, yeah. All right, let's go for a quick couple of cuts to make sure everything's in. Let's go. Just mentioned with the power supply too, so the bracket that comes with the Be Quiet case is actually quite handy, so that'll be easy to install. All right, let's do the quick cuts. Yeah, maybe not the most elegant, but we have taken care of the pipes, the heat cooling line. All right, power supply going in now. Oh, with the power supply in, now we've got all the fun part. Setting everything up, plugging everything in. Not really much. I don't think there's any value in me going through the whole process anyway. So it's just like a lot of wires and stuff, knowing where things go. All right, I think I'll do a cut when everything is together, then put all the side panels on, then let's install Windows 11. Yep, JFP1. That's where we're plugging our computer control. So to turn on, reset switch, hard drive. And this is our instruction manual. I thought I'd add this due to the fact that they didn't really do a good job of distinguishing the connector to say something else. So anyway, that's just if you've got this motherboard. And just in case future you forgets how to install the actual power plug, here's a diagram that they printed nicely on the motherboard. I was looking for this. Beautiful. Alrighty, we'll just go over everything just quickly what's connected. So this is the system now. We're going to test its functionality, but everything is plugged in, not cable managed. And for those who might be of value, we're going to be adding the mesh or the hyper-availability function of this case. So PCIe power, your SATA for your hard drive, your motherboard controls, your fan, PWM, your PWM, that would be for your fan hub. Your CPU power lines, I do have both of them going in. That's in the hope of maybe overclocking the 11900K. And one thing I will note, so this is actually a little bit surprising for me. This is, well, your little fan to keep your components here cool, running to the radiator, which is 3 fans, so there's 4 fans total, plus your pump, but it is only you won't be able to see it properly, it is only a single connection going to the motherboard. So my advice here is if you're adding extra fans or your own high-powered fans, I'd suggest, no, you can see it much better now, I'd suggest yeah, you get a fan hub controller and then you draw the power out of that rather than putting too much load on your motherboard header. So we'll be taking these off, and I'll be setting the high flow in and cable manage. We'll give a quick brief look at it once it's all together and turn it on, and this build is done. Check that out. So this is what at least a good 30-45 seconds of cable management does, and it really improves your system. So if you just spend a little bit of time just managing your cables, you got a fantastic looking system. Just with everything, what I mean by functionality, so this system was potentially going to be a replacement for my possibly Unraid, or even if I was happy with the RAM allocation, I would have had to get at least 64 gigs of RAM though, even though it's running 2 channels, but it would have replaced my E5 2680V3 system because that power consumption is a little bit high. But unfortunately with the Intel Arc 770 card, and I'm guessing, well, yes, obviously the 750 as well, did not play nicely with my 9900KS. So this is what I was left with. So it's like, okay, it looks like this is going to be the system that's going to support the graphics card. Also, I'm hoping that the graphics card does play nicely with the DaVinci Resolve. But this is a system, not a bad, and I'm about to put it all together and turn it on. Well, I'll show you the computer is definitely running no problems. And just give you a little sneak peek, and this is with a few things running in the background. This is Cinebench R20. So I've only ever gotten 5,100 out of my 9900KS. So that's a pretty significant bump. Anyway, that will conclude this video. If you liked it, please subscribe, press like, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace!